All right, what's up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here. Thank you so much for tuning in to GSD Interviews. Before we jump into this interview, I want to give our sponsors a quick plug that make this show possible. So our first sponsor is our real estate software, www.perfectstormnow.com, the most affordable and effective lead generation software out there. This isn't just a website. Yeah, we've got a website. Yeah, we've got a blog feature. Yeah, we have a testimonials and video client testimonials feature. We have community pages. We have all of the typical website stuff. Where we differentiate ourselves is on the lead generation. We teach you how to lead generate. This system is extremely effective with lead generation. We can teach you how to go out there and generate more leads than you can handle without spending a penny on lead generation, right? Not only, though, do we teach you how to lead generate, not only is it a great website, it's a coaching platform combined with software. So we have two monthly live training sessions that are 2 hours long with myself personally. So we teach you how to use the site, how to generate with the site, how to leverage the site. And it goes deeper than that. Okay, I'm getting all these leads. What do I do? What do I say? How do I convert these leads? So we go and train you and coach you on every aspect of that so you can go out there and dominate it in your business. You have access to me, my developers on a daily basis as a customer of ours. So it's $99 a month, no contracts, no registration fees. It's month to month, $99 a month. You can't beat it, right? So go check us out, www.perfectstormnow.com. Our next sponsor is my personal mentorship. You know, if you're ready to take your business, your life, your career to the next level, we've got my 90-day mastery boot camp, which is a mentorship with me personally. Every single week, it's 3 hours, or 2 hours of live coaching and training with me, and then 1 hour of live Q&A. You have daily access to me and our private mastermind. We build out your playbook, every aspect of the residential real estate business, from how to lead generate to how to lead follow-up to how to do your presentations to how to build out your database. We even start talking about how to grow a team, how to hire, how to fire. There's nothing that we do not cover inside that program. Then after the program's done, after the initial 12-week program's done, it's an ongoing platform. It's $50 a month where you have access to me for as long as you want. You know, right? And in that $50 a month program, you guys, I've made that where $50 a month is more powerful than a $1,000 a month coaching program that you can get anywhere else. So we do 4 hours of monthly coaching at $50 a month. So you get 4 hours of live coaching. We have 2 in-person masterminds here in Phoenix, Arizona. They're every 6 months. It's a private mastermind with me and only the alumni bootcamp members that are part of the mentorship. We don't bring in guest speakers. There's nothing to sell. There's none of that crap that we all get at all these other seminars that we go to. You usually go pay $500 to a seminar and they try to sell you a bunch of shit. That's not what this is. This is hardcore masterminding. This is a hardcore mentorship, mastermind, and growth program. So if you guys want to learn more about that, www.90daymastery.com. Hope to see you guys in the program. All right, let's jump on into the interview. Hopefully you enjoy this as much as I did. What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD interview. Every single week we have top entrepreneurs and just strip top badasses, you guys that are out there dominating their space. So today, man, I got one of my closest friends, one of my homies, personal mentor of mine, and now business partner, a repeat guest on the show. I think this is a fourth appearance. Yeah. So my boy Jay Campbell, welcome to the show, my friend.
Josh, man, I got a frog in my throat. Man, I'm fucking so amped to be here today, man. I know I wasn't used to the F-bomb, but I had to get that in there. Dude, I'm so excited. Thank you for having me back on the show. I mean, we're partnering up together. We're going to be talking about that in a second, but amazing things ahead.
Yep. Love it, man. So stoked, so honored, dude. So I've known you now for several years. You know, you've really changed my life in a lot of different ways, man. And this partnership, dude, it's just so excited for it, right? To be able to go out there and help others have that same impact that you've had on my life. Jay's been training with me the last couple of days in the gym, so I can barely freaking move at this point. Been whooping my ass. So it's been a lot of fun, dude. So yeah, let's just jump on into it, dude. So let's talk about. So you just got in town the other night. Give us an idea, dude, of just a real quick couple minute snapshot on what you do, what you specialize in, and kind of, you know, what this venture is we're starting together.
Sure. So again, thanks for having me here, man. And awesome to meet Bobby here too. So about 7 months ago, I launched the Definitive Testosterone Replacement Therapy Manual. It's available on Amazon, various other websites and affiliates. The book has been a rousing success. Technically, according to Amazon, it's a bestseller in the men's health and endocrinology sexual performance classifications. My goal, as you know, Josh, is to help as many men as I possibly can. And in my opinion today, there's a massive, massive need and a marketplace for optimizing hormones, right? I mean, people truly need to look inward. They need to understand what's going on from a biochemistry standpoint. Managed care, medicine, benefits, that system is somewhat failed. Ask or interview any doctor and they'll tell you, the issues they have with the Obama system or Obamacare plan. So the reality of today is if you truly want to live an amazing, energy-filled, badass life, as you and I would classify it, a GSD type life, you really have to look inward and you have to take control of your personal health, okay? And how do you do that? Well, the first thing you do is you get your blood levels checked. And there's numerous private companies out there in the marketplace that, you can do this on your own. You don't have to go through a doctor. You don't have to call and make an appointment with your general practitioner or your family doctor. Josh and I are partnering up with a company, which we're going to talk more about in a second, that's going to do this in a way where they're actually going to come into your house, right? I mean, amazing stuff. We'll talk about more of that in a second. But, our goal in working together is to bridge the gap, to be the guys out there that can position, this brand, the whole hormonal optimization lifestyle and what comes with it in a way that as many people, both men and women, not just in North America, but around the world can finally take control of their health and not have to worry about seeing a doctor or figuring out if their doctor is going to take control of their medical situation because they're not, right?
Yeah. So when I came to you, dude, it was one of those things where I'd lost a lot of weight. I lost, 118 pounds, and that was 10 years ago.
Sure.
And to most people, I looked like I was in pretty good shape, not in as epic of shape as you, but pretty good shape to a lot of people, right? But I never felt right, man. I still, no matter how clean I ate, dude, no matter how much I was working out, I didn't feel like I knew I should have felt, man. So let's go into that, because a lot of people might hear hormone optimization, not really get the importance of it. Because for me, dude, it's been one of the best things I've ever done in my life and a massive game changer. And I was shocked when I had my blood levels checked, thinking, dude, when you and I met and I started this journey, I was at 32, 33, thinking, well, shit, my stuff's got to be pretty good. I eat really clean. I take care of myself. And it was. And I was out of whack. And it was the cool thing I love about it, dude, is it wasn't didn't take 6 months. Right. It was within 2 weeks, I felt just this massive difference. And I felt the energy I felt like I should have. Sure. So, let's talk about that, dude, of how do people's hormones today, even at early ages, because we're seeing 18-year-olds with jacked up hormones, how does it happen?
So great question. It's an epidemic actually in society, and it's a very much under-recognized, or what I would call is under-classified in the medical community epidemic. And to Josh's question, how is it happening? Well, my book talks a lot about that. There's literally 2 chapters dedicated to giving you a very, very concise explanation. And just one little quick aside from the book, a lot of people get all freaked out, what is hormonal optimization? This book is written so that any person, man or woman, regardless of your intellectual level or your understanding of this kind of stuff, you can understand it. And I also wrote it so that anybody can pick it up and go to any chapter that applies to them, whether you're a 50-year-old guy or you're a 20-year-old person, and you have suboptimal levels, you can read a chapter and apply it to your own life. But back to Josh's question, it's mostly environmental, okay? We are today, as we all know, living in a society where there's so many chemicals in the air. There's chemicals in the plastic water bottles, there's BPA, there's phthalates, our food is chemically engineered, Monsanto, the seeds. All these different things are contributing to what we would understand, or what all of us should understand, is endocrine system disruption, okay? And that's just a big buzzword for your body is out of balance, okay? Your natural hormonal systems are just completely out of whack, right? And so it's happening at a rate that's never before seen. I mean, we're finding, like Josh said, there's 18, 20, 25-year-old girls and guys who have suboptimal levels of hormones now. And it's unfortunately an epidemic that most of society, from a medicinal standpoint, meaning you go to your doctor, they're not even qualified to handle. Okay, they're not going to give you the right blood work tests. Managed care, standard patient care, the way the medical system is today isn't even designed to look at this, right? They're not going to go inward. They're not going to actually allow a 25-year-old guy, like Bobby, to go in and say, hey, I want to have my testosterone levels checked. I'm not feeling right. So, again, one of the things that you and I are doing in our partnership is to try to make this make people and society much more aware of how, ubiquitous or how, how much this is actually happening, right? I mean, there are so many people that this affects who actually don't get tested. And again, one of the things I always kind of default back to the book, one of the things is that most people suffer in silence, right? I mean, like the average 25, 30-year-old, 35-year-old, even up to 40-year-old guy, he goes to the doctor, and women are in a similar situation, although we'll talk about them in a second. But for a guy, he says, "Hey doc, I'm not feeling well. What's going on with me? I've lost all my energy. I have brain fog by the time I'm 1 o'clock in the afternoon." And what does the doc do? He doesn't even test for testosterone. He doesn't even look for his internal biochemistry. He just says, "You know what? I'll just write you a script for an SSRI inhibitor, a mood alter, or, a mood elevator, and then I'll give you a sexual dysfunction drug like Cialis or Viagra," right? Which, again, unfortunately, it never addresses the root core of the issue, which is, you have an unbalanced, internal biochemistry. Your hormones are out of whack. So hopefully, and not hopefully, because I know with you and I partnering together, we're going to change the game, but the biggest issue right now is just a lack of identification of this issue, okay? Most people don't understand any of this. They don't have an awareness, again, because the medical issue doesn't promote awareness or push for awareness. So one of the big things that you and I are going to do, and again, it's going to be a game changer, is that we're going to position this situation so that everybody is aware of it.
Yeah. No, I love it, man. And once our relationship started and I started following your protocol, your plan, and sort of just, like I said, very, very quickly, almost instantly started feeling 1,000 times better.
Right.
You're just doing research, dude. Like people, I don't think they grasp it. They can't trust their doctors.
Right.
Right? So when you talk about, okay, they go there, they get the inhibitors and they get Viagra. Well, dude, doctors today are glorified drug dealers.
Absolutely.
They just have a license to do it. So they get, and we were in a meeting yesterday with the dude, and we won't name drop here, but he's like, look, if you guys are able to, like, if we sell this pill, we get this much. Dude, it becomes this monetization game that's jacking people up, that's not helping them. That's so you can't even trust your doctor with this stuff, which is scary. So when we talk about like us partnering with a doctor, it's not necessarily we're not business partners with them. It's essentially, hey, look, here's how these patients, what we need to look for. Here's what they need to be following with protocol, and we're finding people that are doing it in the right manner.
Right. So I mean, ultimately, what Josh and I are going to do, we're going to do a lot of stuff. This is going to evolve into a much larger platform than what we're even talking about now, but we're going to probably partner with a company, and again, we won't name drop or drop names or anything at this point, but we're going to partner with a company that's literally going to be able to come into your home, okay, and test for all the things that we just talked about. They're going to be able to look at your internal biochemistry. They're going to be able to test for every, biomarker that I've written about in an entire chapter in this book, and do it from literally within the comforts of your own house, your office. So there's, it takes away the issue of you having to set an appointment with a doctor to then drive across town or wherever you live. If you're somebody who lives in like a rural area, this is obviously massively beneficial. This may save you 8 hours of travel, okay? And then not only that, but after they do your blood work, you're going to get an automated system as far as like an email and a phone call follow-up within 36 to 72 hours, indicating everything that's going on in your internal biochemistry. Are you deficient? Are you suboptimal in certain things? And then from there, you're going to have a choice of whether or not you want to actually optimize your hormones, which clearly Josh and I are, living embodiment of why you should do that. But it's going to simplify the process. Like, again, right now, if you are a 30-year-old guy, a 40-year-old guy, a 35-year-old woman, and you go to your doctor and you say, hey, doc, I really want to look at what's going on internally. I want to understand my biochemistry. I want to see my risk factors, blah, blah, blah. Good luck, because that's not what managed care is. Managed care is about treating disease and treating symptoms, right? It's not about preventative medicine. It's not about like actually slowing down your aging process or looking, inward to see what it is that could possibly be corroding you as you get older, right? So again, this is really the benefit of what Josh and I are trying to do, is we're really trying to position this understanding in the personalized healthcare space that it's up to you and nobody else. You have to take control of your health, and you can do that very, very easily. And not hopefully, but definitely we're going to offer a tool that's going to make it much more easier for everybody to do that.
So when it goes into the education mode, so there's somebody that's maybe watching this, listening to this, that really doesn't know what some of this stuff means. When we talk about suboptimal hormones, like I had mine checked, 32 years old, I'm like at 300
Right.
testosterone level. I should be at 900 or
Right.
1,000.
Absolutely.
Right? They say today, or people that really know this space like you, your average 18-year-old is really at the level that your average 55-year-old male was during World War II.
Sure.
And it's environmental. So when we talk about that, like, when I say I was at 300, like what age group would be operating naturally at 300?
So it's a great question. I mean, literally, like somebody who's a geriatric, somebody over the age of 75, that would be like a normal level. And as Josh said, and again, this is all in the book, and we highly recommend, and we'll talk about that in a second. We're actually going to be able to give the book away to everybody watching this podcast for free. We'll talk more about that in a second, but if we go back in time 50 years, okay, and before we had this massive environmental, surge of chemicals and particulates and, BPA and phthalates and all these different things, plasticizers, the average testosterone level of a man was literally 2.5 to 3 times higher than it is now. That's a fact, okay? So the World War II fathers, our grandfathers and our great-grandfathers, those guys were much more masculine and much more quote-unquote manly men than guys are today, right? And now Josh and I talk about this all the time. Bobby and I were talking about this. I mean, you can walk down the street anywhere in North America today, and if you're walking behind people, who are in their 20s, and you look at them and you think it's a guy or a girl, the way their bodies are shaped because of high estrogen, because of low testosterone, again, suboptimal hormones, you can't tell if they're a guy or a girl.
Yeah.
Like, again, it's an epidemic. Now, is this recognized in society? No. Because, again, modern medicine does not look at, suboptimal hormone levels as a situation that needs to be looked at in people's 20s and early 30s. But any doctor who works in age medicine or who works in the anti-aging slash regenerative medicine space will tell you if they're good, and we'll get to that in a second, how many of those guys are actually good, but they'll tell you that they're literally seeing 35 to 40% of guys under the age of 30 come in with suboptimal hormone levels, which is a clear epidemic, right? I mean, it's an epidemic. So it's, again, not recognized. You're not going to go to your general practitioner if you are a 28-year-old, 30-year-old guy watching this show. But, through the stuff that Josh and I are going to be doing, we're going to position this so that it's going to be very simple for you to understand what's going on internally.
Yeah, and it's weird, so many people have this, I did, right? It was like testosterone, man, that's like steroids, right? All these athletes are getting punished for this,
Sure.
like, you're not supposed to, whatever, and then after I met you and started talking about you with it, there's a difference between abuse,
Right.
and then there's a difference of getting your body to the midline, getting your body to homeostasis of how you should be operating.
Right.
And I can't stress it enough, just from coming from a dude that does it. Because, man, I was getting so pissed off, bro. Like, working out every single day, eating 100% very clean organic diet, doing everything right, and I still felt like shit.
Right.
Right? So, and I don't think a lot of people grasp that. There's so much more going on that just working out and eating right is not enough. Our bodies are so out of whack through all the chemicals. The average grocery store has 10,000 chemicals on the shelves. Right? Your dashboard, the sun hits the dashboard, it releases gases that you can't escape it.
Right.
So then it's unfortunate that in the environment we have to kind of combat our chemicals the way we've adjusted with other chemicals,
Sure.
but it's the reality
Right.
of it today.
It is. And it's a great point, what you say. I mean, so there's, Josh brings up a really awesome point. There is a stigma, okay? There has been, unfortunately, the mainstream media has demonized the usage of testosterone, not in a clinical capacity for health and longevity like we're talking about, and I'll explain that in a second, but just the last 25 years, anybody who used testosterone was classified, as Josh said, as a anabolic steroid user or a performance enhancer, right? You had the Major League Baseball scandal with Balco, and all the Major League Baseball players in the late 90s, and early 2000s were on it. And then that clouded and tainted the game and whatnot. And, now there's still a debate of a lot of professional sports are probably using PEDs, performance enhancers, and designer drugs and whatnot. But the reality of what we're talking about, okay, is exactly what Josh said. This is about, optimization. It's really about restoration, but then optimizing everything else, right? Your internal chemistry. And again, I don't want to get into too deep of an esoteric discussion about this because it's very simply laid out here in the book. But what your goal is in getting hormonal balance or being hormonally optimized is to have, if you're a man, is to be, and really for women too, is to be balanced between testosterone and estrogen. Okay, so think of it very simply like this. The more estrogen, when you're out of balance and you have a higher estrogen profile than you do a testosterone, you're going to be soft, You're going to be probably high body fat. You're going to feel moody. You're not going to be, as Josh and I would say, in like the GSD mode where you're just like optimal all the time, high energy, ready to roll, take on life. So you're going to just not feel well. You're not going to be what you want to feel like. So when you balance your estrogen and your testosterone so that you're, somewhat high-end range, optimized level of testosterone, and that varies. If, again, I don't want to get too esoteric, but it's somewhere in the range of 690, 700 to like 1200, 1300 over a 7-day moving average. It moves in there. That's where you want to be when you're optimal. And then you want to have your estrogen level somewhere down below that, but, in a level also from, say, 25 to 45 or even 30 to 50. So, again, I don't want to get esoteric. The goal is to balance both of those hormones. Most people walking around today in society are literally like this: estrogen, testosterone, okay? When you're up here and your testosterone is down here, life sucks. You're fat, you have no energy, and then as Josh knows, the worst part about it is you have brain fog, right? Like we know so many guys, realtors, entrepreneurs who are 40 years old who email Josh and I all the time. Josh will just forward them on to me, who say, dude, my life is just shit, I can't get an erection. I can't have sex with my wife anymore. By 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm pounding caffeine. I'm taking stimulants like Adderall. I'm doing whatever I can get through the day because I literally just want to go to sleep at 2 o'clock. Well, guess what? That is when your testosterone is here and your estrogen is here. That's when you're hormonally out of balance and you're suffering from what is known in the clinical world as a testosterone deficiency. And so again, this kind of stuff is what you have to understand. You don't have to suffer in silence anymore. You're not going to have to go to your doctor and put your head down when your doctor says, here's some, Viagra and take this, Wellbutrin or Paxil. You're not going to have to do that anymore. That's what Josh and I are going to change. We're going to offer a solution where you are literally going to be able to understand your internal biochemistry, not only understand it, if you qualify, you are suboptimal, and it's likely you will be, especially if you're 40 years old or older, then have a solution to be able to have everything sent to you and get you literally, as Josh said, dialed in within 4 weeks.
Yeah, dude, and I've had a lot of my really good buddies, clients, good friends that have reached out. I forward them to you. They get checked. Every one of them has been off. Everyone, even at 30 years old, it's
amazing.
And what always, and I'm pissed off. It's always that hindsight, right? Like I had a lot of resistance to this kind of stuff.
Sure.
Now I'm like, God, I wish I would have gotten this in my 20s.
Right.
Right? Because I was the guy that, but again, dude, no matter how organic and clean, I mean, dude, and I'm, as you guys know that are watching this, man, I do go to the extreme. I mean, I freeze my body every single week.
Right.
I was doing all this different stuff, and it still couldn't, it just wasn't working, right? I wasn't getting that result until I started getting my blood checked, and every 90 days, reanalyzing, reassessing, and it's so funky. It's like, dude, we go get our oil change, in our car. We have maintenance on everything else, but we don't do the maintenance need in our bodies.
Absolutely,
and it's just insane to me.
Well, that's a great point, and let me stress this: if you're obese or you've been obese, or I won't even want to classify you as obese. Let's say you just have high body fat. You're not classified as obese, and I don't even know how they classify obesity anymore. But Josh was obese at one time, and obviously he's very, very open and candid about his struggles. And I mean, props to you, my brother. I mean, he's one of those guys that can do anything he wants with his life. But I mean, that's an amazing accomplishment. Whenever I see somebody who's lost 150 plus pounds to get to where they are, where they're lean and trim and everything, that's amazing. But there's a point there, and that is that if you have gotten to that point, or you're at that point now, you're watching this show now, 99.9% likely that you are suboptimal, okay? Because what happens is when you become high body fat, obese, whatever, you have what is called this metabolic disorder and insulin resistance. When you have both of those things going on inside your biochemistry, your testosterone cannot be optimal, because guess what? Your body's natural production of testosterone cessates. It just lessens, okay? Because that's part of that dysfunction, that metabolic disorder. So if you are fat, high body fat, obese, whatever you want to classify yourself as, and again, you're watching the show, you have to, I mean, if you're serious about like having better energy and having a better sex life and more energy to work and do all these things, and of course I'm sure you have a goal of leaning out, you have to be optimized. You have to look at your internal biochemistry. And even for a guy like Josh, I mean, he lost all that weight. When him and I started working together, he was already, what he is now. I mean, he's definitely improved his body, and he's, constant, never-ending improvement. Both of us have that goal. But the reality is that when he got that heavy and that fat, he slowed down that system. I mean, he turned that system off, and it probably was not ever optimal or functional or highly functioning like it was because of that, even 6, 7, 8 years later after he lost all the weight. So again, if you're fat, obese, holding on to too much body weight, this is something you have to do, because this not only, and again, this is all in the book, but testosterone, when you're balanced, is lipolytic, which actually means it's fat burning. So it's going to accelerate your metabolism when your hormones are optimal. So a lot of guys who are fat or holding on to too much body fat, it's because your testosterone is so low and your body can't burn fat and have a normal metabolism or an elevated metabolism like you would if you had balanced hormones.
Yeah, and it's one of these, we were having this conversation yesterday, dude. I was like, you know what? Something that we're both so ungodly passionate about,
Sure.
right? Different backgrounds with it. But in our conversation yesterday, I'm like, dude, no matter how much money I've made, no matter what I've done, like, the happiest moments always in my life have been when I've been in the best shape.
Exactly.
Like when I go to the pool in the summertime and I'm able to take my shirt off and feel good, feel confident. Like there's no better feeling. And I'm a guy that's come from the extreme, and that's my passion with this is I want people to have that, because that self-confidence, not only does you just feel better about yourself, but it increases, like if you're in the sales game.
Absolutely,
So much of your success when it comes to sales is that self-confidence. And then, dude, the relationship you're going to have with your wife or your husband, whatever, when you're self-confident, it's a game changer. So I kind of want to change the direction slightly and talk about sugar and insulin sensitivity, because there's a supplement that you and I are both on, which is called metformin, which is really for diabetics. Neither you and I are diabetic, right? Go into that. Let's talk about insulin sensitivity and
No, it's a great question. So it's a great SIG, actually. I wanted to say one thing, though, real quick about the whole, the self-confidence aspect. It's weird because, in my background, and Josh knows this, I've been a competitive physique athlete. I've won shows and whatnot. I've also been in Ironman magazine. I've been that quote-unquote fitness model bro. And as I've evolved and, meeting Josh and other high conscious people, and, obviously I always give credit to my wife, who's the most amazingly high conscious person I've ever met. I've learned that it's not about really the external. It's what Josh said. It's like, you still have to, when you get the external and you look amazing, the internal improves because of, as what Josh says, you feel so much better about yourself. And it's always important to realize that it's not just about what you look like on the outside. So I don't want you to think, if you're heavy and you got a lot of weight to lose, that that you're going to get shredded or you're going to have a six pack or you're going to look like Josh and I or whatever, because maybe that can't be or ultimately where you can get, but you definitely can improve your health. And that's what this is about, right? Even if it's just you dropping 2 pant sizes as a guy, or you're a woman and you want to get into a bikini that you couldn't wear, for 15 years. That's all possible. But just always remember that it's the most important thing about this is health. It's not about the narcissism of I want to be shredded. You might not be able to ever be shredded. You might not ever be able to look like Josh and I, but it's about feeling better about yourself. And as Josh said, when you feel better, every element of your life is going to improve. Now, to Josh's question on insulin sensitivity. So I love talking about this because this is so misunderstood. As Josh and I joke about this all the time, even when we're not together, we're always emailing each other and talking about this stuff. This is the most misunderstood thing in all of nutrition and fitness, okay? The only way that you can ever lose body fat and keep it off for life and maintain leanness is to understand your insulin sensitivity. What do I mean by that, okay? All of us are a specific body type. Most of us are combinations, right? There's 3 types of body types. There's the chunky, heavy set, which is known as endomorphic. There's the naturally long and lean skinny, which is like what I am genetically, which is ectomorphic. And then there's the combination of both of those people, which are the super, mutant bodybuilder types that are just hyper muscular. They just, they look at a weight and they become muscular. Those are called mesomorphic people. Now, all 3 of those types, whatever you are watching this show, you fall into that combination, and it's most likely you're a combination. Like Josh is a combination of endo and meso. So he's got the muscle building size, but he also can get fat, right? So until you understand, and this is what insulin sensitivity means, until you understand how many carbohydrates you as an individual can eat in a daily basis, you're never going to master your body fat. You're never going to master your body weight, okay? And I see way too many people. I would actually go as far to say that it's 90% of society gurus, literally quote-unquote nutritionists, clinical dietetic people who still don't understand this concept. They start going into this it's calories in versus calories out, or it's, it's the metabolic equation and it's metabolic dynamics, or, thermodynamics, all these different things. And the simple truth is, until you understand how your body processes carbohydrates, you cannot control your body fat. Okay, so let me give you a case in point. If you're naturally fat, okay, and again, you got the worst genetic hand, you've been dealt the worst genetic hand, guess what? You can't eat a lot of carbohydrates. Simple, point blank. You cannot be a person like me, okay, that can eat 250 to 300 grams of carbohydrates a day and not gain body fat. Okay, that's just the way it is. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't have your carbs. I like to say, eat your carbs, enjoy them too, but you have to learn when you can have them specifically to your lifestyle. Okay, so what does this mean? I mean, this means that if you are a naturally fat person, okay, or heavy set, again, an endomorphic person, you can't eat more than 50 carbs a day. You got to live a lifestyle that says, I got to eat less than 50 carbs, right? So you eat a paleo diet, excuse me. You eat protein, you eat green vegetables, you eat a lot of salads, okay? You can do that and you'll be lean. You will maintain a condition that looks like Josh and I or anybody who's like really lean year round, right? If you're a mesomorphic, the muscular type guy, you can eat more carbs, okay? You are genetically blessed. You can get away with eating a pizza and a pint of ice cream, and it probably won't affect you. But it's until people start understanding insulin sensitivity that you're gonna be a slave to weight and to higher body fat and constant yo-yoing, where your insulin goes up and down and up and down. So it's a very simple concept. Josh and I are gonna really hammer this as we build out this platform of understanding this type of stuff. But insulin sensitivity is simply measured by doing an A1BC blood test. And again, that's going to be part of the stuff that we provide. It's a very cheap, very efficient blood test. It tells you how efficient you are at your body's in handling carbohydrate consumption.
Yep. All right, what scares the hell out of me today is kids today, man. So I was watching this, this deal on a documentary the other day on sugar. And they're saying that the average kid today has over 30 tablespoons. This average American kid, 30 tablespoons of sugar a day.
Yeah, man.
Like, and like they said, we're built to handle the average human being about 6 tablespoons.
Wow.
So you've got obesity that's doubled in the last 30 years. Diabetes has tripled in the last 30 years. And now you're seeing like 5th graders with
who are obese.
Yeah, well, dude. 5th graders that have developed atherosclerosis.
Right.
And I'm just having heart issues,
Sure.
and it's all because of the sugar, man.
Yes.
And it's one of these things that, like, parents need to wake the hell up, and we got to lead by example. We can't tell our kids, oh, don't eat that, don't eat that. Like, we've got to lead the example, set the example, be the example. Starts with us educating ourselves, taking care of ourselves, and then translating to our kids, because it's only getting worse, dude. And that's why I'm so excited about this for that front, man, of, man, the kids today, what's going on is scary as shit.
It's dude, my wife, Monica Diaz and I, we see it all the time. We have young girls, just like Josh. I have a 6-year-old and 8-year-old. Monica has a 14-year-old. We have an awesome blended family. But when I'm out in society, dude, in public, and I see that, I literally want to go up to the parents. I actually classify it as child abuse, right? Because you're exactly right. It's child abuse. What are you doing to your children that you are literally making them morbidly obese under the age of 10? Come on, guys. Literally, you are putting your child, you're literally limiting their chances of success in life. Again, I hate to say that, but we all know that when you're fat and at a young age, you're going to get picked on, right? You're going to deal with bullying probably in school. Your self-esteem is going to be really low because, people are going to make fun of you all the time, and you're not going to feel comfortable at yourself. And you're right. Josh is right. The truth is that children should not be having to understand about obesity and insulin sensitivity and like the amount of carbohydrates they handle. This is stuff that should be regulated by their parents. Yeah. And it's just a sad situation. But you're right. This is another part of the epidemic. So, factoring into all of this stuff that we're going to be talking about, take control of your health, man. Understand, get this book. Listen to the stuff that Josh and I are going to be putting out there. Educate yourself. Again, knowledge is power always. Understand that you cannot be eating massive amounts of carbohydrates. Stop going to the grocery store and buying all of this, processed boxed food, right? Josh and I have talked about this a million times. Everything that's in a box on a store shelf at a grocery store is shit. It's shit. You cannot eat it. You cannot, if you're going to eat it, I hate saying you can't, because that just makes people want it more. everything is always about moderation, but you should not be eating boxed foodstuffs. And God forbid that you're giving it to your children, because your children have metabolisms that are forming right now, and they're getting stronger and they're getting better. And they're not training with weights. They're not building muscle or anything like that. So you have to be very careful about the type of sugar they consume. And, we could go on and go off the deep end, but, another issue that with kids today is they're not active, right? They play video games. Very few of them are actually out running around, playing kick the can like you and I did, or hiding in the woods or doing stuff like that. They're just less active. They play more video games. They sit around, they text and stuff like that. So they're just not as active. So you also have to factor that into consideration. But as Josh said, all you really have to do when a child is under the age of 14 and really 16, regardless of their body type, is just limit their sugar. They have metabolisms that are like birds. They're super fast. They're amped. So the only way they can be fat is if they literally, as Josh said, are eating 30 to 35 to 40 tablespoons or teaspoons of sugar a day. And that's probably an exaggeration. I mean, I sometimes look at my daughters, because Monica buys them the fruit snacks, right? The little things. Those things have like 50 grams of sugar in one little packet. So, I mean, I don't know what that translates to in a tablespoon, but that's at least 5 tablespoons. Yep. So, I mean...
It's 200 pounds. Your average kid's like 200 pounds of sugar a year.
It's incredible, man. So, I mean, bottom line is, understand insulin sensitivity, to, if you're an adult, to regulate your body fat, to maintain leanness forever. This isn't about 6 weeks or 8 weeks or 12 weeks crash diets. This is about understanding how to eat for your body type so that you can maintain this for life. It's not hard, as we know, right? Once you understand these things, the whole knowledge is power aspect, you can be lean. And again, I hate telling people that you can't do this. When you understand how to eat for your body type, you can absolutely have a weekend where you splurge. You go out to your wife, you go out and eat pizza, you have a thing of apple pie and ice cream, whatever. But it's something where you only do it in moderation, and you're, during the week, you're eating within the frame of what you can do from a carbohydrate standpoint. So all these things are very simple to understand, but it's rare to see it out there in society where people are teaching it correctly.
Yeah, and just little things like understanding. So when it comes to sugar, and not just kids, but adults as well, like, sure. I'm giving my kids drinking juice, so it's good. Well, you got to understand fructose. There's a big difference between fructose and glucose, right? Fructose cannot be digested through other organs in the system like glucose can. So it goes directly to the liver, which creates a fatty liver, right? So and it gets very controversial, but I was listening to this pediatrician the other day that says you'd be better off giving your kid a Budweiser than you would fructose. He's like, don't give your kid a Budweiser, but don't give him fructose, exactly. But society is just so twisted. And the point I really want to set home here is, you guys, you can't trust what we've been taught. Right. Like the food pyramid or whatever you think you've been taught, whatever you think it's junk. And you can't even trust your family doctor. No. Right? I mean, they're in this, they're dying themselves. Right. They're scraping to just make a profit themselves. So they have to follow a protocol now, follow a plan that isn't always in your best interest. It's in their financial interest. Exactly. And a lot of it, I mean, we're seeing them screw up more people than they're helping.
Yeah, I mean, everything that Josh said, it's totally true. I mean, you cannot rely on your doctor. And again, that's the thing that, Josh and I are, this platform that we're going to be evolving is truly going to be a very powerful personalized healthcare platform. We're going to enable you to take full control of your health, and do it all literally within the confines of your home, your office, your computer, probably your cell phone. I mean, that's how simple this is going to be, where everything is automated and you have full control. And as I say in the book, and I probably have said this like 10, it's probably reemphasized 8 to 10 times in the book. It's all about you taking control of yourself. Nobody's looking out for you. Your wife's not looking out for you. Your husband's not looking out for you. Your kids aren't looking out for you. Your dad and mom aren't looking out for you. Your doctor damn sure isn't looking out for you. So you have to look out for yourself. And it's very simple to do this. You can easily take your blood work through the company that we're providing, or through another, private medical company at, Nelson Virgil's company, discountedlabs.com, privatemdlabs.com. They're everywhere. It's literally go online. You give them your PayPal. You pay them. They sent you a rec form. You print it out. You take it to LabCorp or Quest Diagnostics or whomever, and you just drop it off with them, and they pull your labs, and boom, it comes to you. I mean, this is so simple to take control of this. I think the educational breakdown is a lot of people will say, me and Josh, okay, great, I have my labs done, but then what? Because I don't know how to read any of this. Well, that's one of the great things that Josh and I are going to do with this platform is that we're going to teach people how to read their labs, like how to understand the biomarkers that are important to understand. Now, obviously, all of that stuff is in this book. I have a whole chapter on kind of like hacks. I'm like, this is the stuff you need to recognize, right? Like, for, let's say you're 35 years old. You need to get your blood work done at least once to twice a year forever, okay? You need to keep that on a folder on your hard drive, hopefully, because it's all coming by email, so that you can look at your biomarkers every year, right? Like, oh, wow, I had a variance at 38 from where I was when I was 36. Why is that, okay? So this is the kind of stuff that as the personalized healthcare space evolves, and obviously Josh and I are going to be very integral in that happening, this is where you can completely take control and not let doctors or quote unquote managed medical care be that intermediary as they have been, because they're doing a shitty job. If anything, they don't do any kind of job. So this is on you now to truly understand that. And it's very simple. It doesn't even cost a lot of money. And again, that's all stuff we're going to probably talk about in another podcast or another video. But this is going to be very streamlined, incredibly seamless. We're going to make this so that anybody can do this. And obviously, after all the things we've told you, why would you not?
Yeah. And I know we talked a lot about men here, but this is men, women,
Yes,
myself,
anybody.
my wife, we both get checked. We both follow the same protocol, same with Jay and his wife, Monica, with that. So it's so important. And like Jay said, there's a lot of different doctors and companies and organizations that you can do this through.
Sure.
Now, below you guys will see a link to go through who Jay and I both go through, right? And not only do Jay and I go through them, it's also the protocol that we both follow, so we can ensure that it's done right with you. So we've teamed up with these doctors to make sure that it's administered right, that it's done right, because some of these doctors are screwing so many people up. I got screwed up, man. I started learning about this. I went through a doctor for, it was a good 6 or 9 months, and I got pretty jacked up from it. Then, went to Jay. I'm like, dude, I don't know what to do here. He's like, no, you got to go over here. This is what you need to do, and instantaneously change it. So going through the right people is really important. So below you guys will see a link for that if you do want to go get checked out, if you do want to explore this. Also, you're going to see a link below to get Jay's book 100% for free. You can download it right now, get that book, and start educating yourself right now. And of course, you can always reach out to Jay and I. There's another link below, or if you have certain questions, whatever, you can reach out to us anytime.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, thanks for having me on this podcast. I mean, I think that we can cut it there. But yeah, I mean, this book is a $20 book on Amazon. It's, like I said, it's a bestseller. A lot of people have purchased it. There's amazingly gold information in here. I still, the PDF that you're going to be able to get for free is 4-color. It has all the questions. It'll have hot links, direct HTML links and whatnot too, to all the things that we talk about in here. But I mean, for me, man, I still am all about getting the book, because this is something you're going to go back to a million times. Of course, you can still do that with your PDF and stuff like that. But I mean, I know a lot of these guys just highlight sections and stuff in the book. But yeah, I mean, Josh and I are super excited about what's coming. And as he said, if you need to reach out to us, there'll be ways to connect with us. And, feel free. We're the type of people that always get back to you.
Yep. So, all right, you guys, I know I end every podcast with this, but information without implementation is the start of delusion. So information itself isn't power. Like, you guys learned a lot of good stuff here on this podcast today, but you got to take that information that you've learned and apply it to your world. It's the only way you create power in your world. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Keep kicking ass. And Jay, man, it's always a pleasure, man. Time to go dominate, brother. My friend.
For sure.
All right, see you guys next time. Peace.